Welcome to Canadian Football League Weekly, presented by the World of Football. Each week, we recap the games played up north in the CFL, and we also look ahead to next week's games. Our mission here is to educate American football fans on the teams and players in the CFL in the hopes that you will come to love this league as much as we do. I'm Randy Snow, and I'm joined by my son, Adam.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Canada, what another great weekend of football you had up there in the Great White North. We are so excited to talk about it. Because last week 10 was incredible. And it was like,
awesome.
shoot, how are they going to match what they did last week? Well, we're going to get into it, but man, they started off with a heck of a game.
Yeah, there were a couple of these games this past weekend that were really, really good. So let's get right into it. This was week 11 up in the CFL. And on Thursday, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeated the Ottawa Red Blacks by the score of 30-27. Winnipeg led in this game 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, and they also led 20-3 at halftime. Winnipeg also led 20-10 at the end of the third quarter. And with 2 minutes and 36 seconds left in the game, Ottawa closed the gap to 27-20, but still trailed by 7 points. Then a missed 57-yard field goal by Winnipeg was returned 117 yards for a touchdown by Ottawa's wide receiver Khalil Pimpleton from Central Michigan University, no less. And the score was tied 27-27 with 53 seconds left in the game. An interception by Ottawa stopped the ensuing Winnipeg drive, but Winnipeg managed to get the ball back with 18 seconds remaining in the game, and that's when Sergio Castillo kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired. What an ending to this game. Just when you thought, they were going to win on a 117-yard missed field goal return, they wound up losing. I felt bad for them.
I felt bad too. But they were down for so much of this game, the Red Blacks were. And that kid, when he returned that, I was like, holy smokes, this is awesome.
Yep.
They just carried that momentum from last week, just shifted over to this week. I was like, oh, we're in for another great week. But man, for Winnipeg, though, to stay composed, and even though they let that big lead just crumble down and let Ottawa back into this game, and no slight to Ottawa. Ottawa clawed their way back into this one. And that return by Pimpleton was incredibly insane. Yeah. But, at the end, they had their composure. They got their kicker in a position to win the game, and they didn't let, any of the negative juju affect him, and he did his job, and they come out with the win.
Yeah. Ottawa quarterback Drew Brown was injured in the third quarter of this game, and he was replaced by Dustin Crum when Ottawa was still down 20-3. So Dustin Crum did his job as a backup. He brought the team back to tie the game with under a minute to go. So you can't blame it on the backup quarterback this time.
No, you cannot. I thought he looked pretty serviceable when he was out there. We'll talk about his stats here in a second. But let's start with the stats of the victors. That's right, Winnipeg. Quarterback Zach Collaros went 24 of 34 during this game for 298 yards. He also threw a touchdown with 2 interceptions. He also ran the ball for 25 yards. Then Brady Oliveira, running back there for the Blue Bombers, ran the ball 10 times for 35 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Nick Dembski had 6 catches for 128 yards. And then kicker Sergio Castillo was 3 of 4 on his field goals, the longest of which from 53 yards. For Ottawa, as Dad mentioned, he started off with Drew Brown at quarterback, 12 of 21 passing for 166 yards, no touchdowns, but he had an interception. Got hurt. Backup quarterback Dustin Crum comes in. He went 11 of 17 for 125 yards and a touchdown. He also had 21 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown. Running back William Stanback carried the ball 8 times for 50 yards, and wide receiver Eugene Lewis led receivers with 5 catches for 72 yards. Wide receiver Khalil Pimpleton had that awesome 95-yard kickoff return, or 95 yards and kickoff return yardage, 34 punt return yards, and 39 receiving yards to go with that 117-yard missed field goal return for a touchdown for a grand total, Dad, get this, of 285 all-purpose yards, I think is how you would classify that. Just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he almost had as many yards returning the ball and whatever as Zach Collaros had passing the ball.
Right. And shout out Royce watching the live stream. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for checking out the CFL broadcast today. Any other takeaways from this game, Dan? Winnipeg's been so up and down this year. A lot of these teams have surprised me with how one week they look great, the next week is just, not great. Winnipeg, comes out to a big lead, and then they let Ottawa with a backup quarterback back into it. It's clearly aren't the same teams of last year.
Yeah, you could never count Winnipeg out. I mean, what have they been to?
No.
Five straight Grey Cups. They're going to be back in the playoffs this year, and that's all you can hope for. So yeah, you never count out Winnipeg. They're just that good of a team. All right, let's move on to the Friday night game. The Edmonton Elks defeated our beloved Toronto Argonauts by the score of 28-20. Edmonton led 6-0 at the end of the first quarter. They also led 13-10 at halftime. The Argos held a slim 1-point lead after three quarters, 17-16. But Edmonton took a 28-20 lead with 1 minute and 5 seconds left in the game and was able to hang on for the win at home. This is 3 straight losses for Toronto. They have been so close, but man, they just can't close out these games.
They can't, and they come up against a team that we've seen the last couple weeks just get incrementally better. They seem with Fajardo at quarterback, they just seem a little more put together, a little more buttoned up, and I think these guys are buying in. There's something brewing there in Edmonton. I mean, you hate to see it for our Argos. I mean, but they've let games slip through their fingers way too often this year. Of those 7 losses or 8 losses now, I feel like, God, 5 or 6 of them they should have probably had it. They flipped the script the other direction, but okay, give credit where credit's due. Edmonton's got some dudes on that team. One of our favorite players, Justin Rankin, especially with the Elks right now, out there running like a sledgehammer. So,
this was a fun game to watch. I mean, this was a great game. It's just too bad that Toronto couldn't hang on at the end to win this game.
Yeah, another one that came down to the end of the game. You like you mentioned, 1 minute and 5 left. So if you're watching these games, guys, are you not entertained? As they said in Gladiator, like you get to the end of these ball games and you don't know which way it's going to go. Anything can happen. Toronto was down. What were they? They were down by 5 points. And then, what was it, the 3 and out? They essentially just gave the ball back to Edmonton there at the end, and Edmonton kicked the field goal with a few, a little bit left in the game, I want to say, and, won this one by 8. But it still came down to the end. You just hate to see it. Arbuckle has been a very good quarterback. He's still got to clean up some decisions. I mean, you're going to look at his stats here, and you're going to be like, how did they not win the game with him having these particular types of stats? I mean, which is the thing we always get back to when we talk CFL. So let's talk those stats real quick. Let's start with that winning quarterback, Cody Fajardo, 25 of 31 for the Elks, passing for 273 yards. He had a touchdown and an interception. He also ran the ball for 16 yards. Running back Justin Rankin, as I was mentioning earlier, ran the ball 13 times for 92 yards and a touchdown. He also had 5 catches for 87 yards. So this dude could do it all. Wide receiver Stephen Dunbar had 7 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. Kicker Vincent Blanchard was 4 of 6 on his field goals, the longest from 51 yards. He also filled in for the injured punter Cody Grace and punted 4 times for 172 yards. For Toronto, quarterback Nick Arbuckle was 30 of 42. Forget this, 382 yards passing with a touchdown pass. Wide receiver Dijon Brissett had 7 catches for 96 yards. Wide receiver David Unger had 4 catches for 96 yards. Kicker Lyram Hirala, who was 4 for 4 on his kicks, the longest of which was from 45 yards. So
two receivers with exactly 96 yards apiece. One had 7 catches, the other guy had 4 catches, but still both with 96 yards receiving. I thought that was a little ironic on the stat sheet there.
Yeah, but I mean, got to give it to the Elks. We've been talking about they were so close in so many games. Now they make the quarterback change, and they've had Fajardo. What is this? His 3rd straight week, I want to say, starting.
Third or 4th, I can't remember.
I want to say 3. Chat could correct me, if you guys are paying attention more than I do. But I want to say this is his 3rd because he lost the first one in his start, but it was a close game, and that team looked a lot better. They won last week. They won this week. And I think they got another winnable game coming up. I think the Elks are going to catch some fire here. enough to make a playoff push. Hard to say. We are at about the halfway point of the season. I don't know if it'll be enough, but I think we're going to see a completely different Elks team here on out. They're going to be a lot more competitive. And when you look at people's power rankings now for the CFL, you got the Argos now sitting at the bottom, which baffles me because I don't think the Argos are that bad. They've just let so many games slip through their fingers. And I would say, like, yeah, you might have a team ranked number 9, but I don't think there's a terrible team. There's not like a Cleveland Browns or a Carolina Panthers in the bunch of the CFL right now. So, yeah, Dish in the chat, I really thought the Argos would win this one. I did too.
Yeah.
But the Elks are just getting a little bit better, and the Elks did what they needed to do to win this game. So, tip of the cap to the Elks. So,
all right. Not only do we have a show here about the CFL, but we also have a weekly audio podcast. Well, the last couple of weeks has been video also.
It's live now, baby.
It's more live stuff than I care to be doing. But we have a podcast called This Week in the World of Football. This week is going to be episode 407 that we've done in the last 8 years. And it's also our 8th anniversary show. And the things that we're going to be talking about this week, the Beaumont Renegades and the Kentucky Barrels have joined Arena Football 1. That Kentucky Barrels was just announced earlier today. The playoff teams are set in the European League of Football. And since this is going to be our 8th anniversary show tomorrow, we're going to have some highlights and lowlights from the past year. I just got through pulling out some audio clips from those shows. And I don't know if many people will remember some of these things. A couple were from May, so they might remember those. But yeah, we've definitely got highlights and lowlights every year. Use some good things and some not so good things that we do.
Yep. So tune in Tuesday, tomorrow at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go live again for our 8th anniversary show. So please check it out. And should be a fun show. I'm sure we're going to talk quite a bit about Arena Football 1. There's other news in other leagues that we're going to touch on. Dad's Nordic Storm from the ELF making the playoffs. So gonna be I think tomorrow will be a fun show, and I'm curious to see what clips you pulled out. I got to put those together tonight for you, but I'm looking forward to talking all sorts of football tomorrow and with you guys. Hopefully you guys can join us live tomorrow, and then if you can't, the podcast will be available on YouTube following the broadcast. It'll also be wherever good podcasts can be found. So, Dad, without further ado, let's get back into the rest of the CFL action.
All right, 2 games on Saturday, and it started out with the Saskatchewan Roughriders over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, 29-9. Oh man, Hamilton was up 6-1 after the first quarter, but it was all Saskatchewan after that. Saskatchewan was up 19-6 at halftime, 26-6 after 3 quarters, and they just cruised to that 29-9 win at home. Saskatchewan is the best team in the league. I mean, they got the best record. And they were playing in front of a sold-out crowd in Saskatchewan. They had 33,350 people there at that game. In case you didn't know this, Adam, but Ryder Fan posted that. She posted a picture of the screen that showed what the attendance was for that game because, of course, she was there. And
of course.
So that's where I got that because I didn't really see it. All I knew was it was a sellout, but I didn't know what the numbers were, and she posted that, and so I took that from her. So thank you, Ryder Fan, if you're watching. I got that from you.
Hey, look, I mean, no. So from this game, also, I mean, how good is that defense for Saskatchewan?
Yeah.
And way to bury the lead. These are the 2 top teams in each division. So the top team in the East facing the top team in the West, and there we go. The top team in the West right now looks like top dog. Yeah, they have the best record. And again, I think on the field, they proved that they have probably the best team right now. Could that all change in a few weeks? Probably could. But I've been singing the praises of this Saskatchewan defense all season long. From that first game, I have loved the Saskatchewan defense. I still make, no secret that I want to get to a game at Mosaic Stadium so stinking bad. That crowd looks absolutely insane. They looked electric. You had the number there for the sellout crowd, 33,350. And then Hamilton was sacked 6 times by this defense. It was an absolute clinic, and I think Saskatchewan right now should be the favorite to win that Grey Cup.
Well, I can't argue with that. The only other note I have on this game is and I've always hated these gray uniforms that Hamilton was wearing. Plus, they also had the black helmet with the letter H on it instead of their Tiger Cat logo. I mean, I love their regular helmet, and this helmet, this uniform, I do not like it. I think their fans, are fine with it, but man, oh man, give me that black and gold with the Ticats logo on the helmet every day of the week.
I know. As soon as I saw this, I was like, Randy's probably gonna hate this, and I'm not a big fan of that gray uniform either. Not a big fan of the H-Town uniform either. I mean, it is what it is. I was just shocked that they wore this on the road. I don't know if they've done that before or not. Because I was like,
I
oh,
don't
that's
know.
weird. Seeing gray versus green, it was a little odd. Not my favorite uniform matchup I've ever seen, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
But
maybe Royce can chime in on what he thought of these uniform combinations.
well, I'm sure Royce has got opinions, and we can see if he still sitting there in the chat or not. But I mean,
Yeah.
look, Hamilton couldn't get into the end zone, and that's a problem. Hamilton's looked so good. I mean, they've dropped, what is this? Their third straight loss now for
That
Hamilton
I'm not
after the
sure.
5-game streak. But uh, you know, that is what it is. And then also in the chat, Dish 4 again, I agree. It's not that great. The Cat logo is good. I don't know why it wasn't H. You have the H Town, I think, or they have a different name for this H uniform. The Hammer, that's
Hammer.
what they call him. So,
Yep.
I mean, hey, for those fans, we're not trying to, yuck your yum. If you guys are into it, that's all that matters. The hometown fans, as long as they're happy with it, that's all that matters. But not my favorite. But so let's talk some stats from this game. Weatherman Trevor Harris. That's right. Did you guys all see that this past week? We talked about it on last week's podcast. He was on the local news. He did a weather report with his kids. It was awesome. So local weatherman Trevor Harris, aka the quarterback of the Rough Riders, went 21-27 for 307 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Running back AJ Olette carried the ball 18 times for 85 yards. He also caught 3 passes for 33 yards. Wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson led the receivers with 8 catches for 117 yards, while kicker Brett Lawther was just 2 of 5 on field goals, his longest being from 59 yards. Not often we talk about kickers missing a bunch of like 3 field goals. That's rough. This was that was a tough one to swallow. And Royce did mention he agrees. Give him the attacking Tiger. We figured you'd be on our side, Royce.
Yep.
All right, continuing with the stats, quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell for the Ticats went 16-31 for 201 yards. No touchdown. He did throw 2 rough interceptions. He also ran the ball for 26 yards. Running back Greg Bell also ran the ball 10 times for 55 yards. Bell had 5 catches as well for 52. And then wide receiver Kenny Lawler had 3 catches for 62 yards. So, the East, the best in the East getting knocked down, while the West and Saskatchewan in that defense. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this team can go.
Yeah, that's been a theme for many years. The teams out in the West have put together better records than some of the teams in the East, and you hate to see that, but and I thought maybe with Hamilton this year, God, what were they like 5-3, 5-2, and now they've lost a couple of games. So watch out for those teams in the West. They are good. All of them are good.
But hey, we know the last 3 Grey Cups, though, have been won by East teams. So, hey, throw the records out the door at the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Moving to the final game of the weekend, it was the BC Lions over the Montreal Alouettes, 36-18. BC was up 6-0 after the first quarter, and the Lions led 16-9 at halftime. But then BC just outscored Montreal 20-9 in the second half for a well-deserved win at home. Boy, this is the team. We say this a lot. This is the kind of game that we expect from the BC Lions and Nathan Rourke. And they finally put it all together again. They've had some good games, kind of like Toronto. They couldn't close out some games, but this is how we thought they were going to be playing week in and week out, just bringing an opponent in and just having their way with them. And maybe they're finally to that level this year. I don't know.
Hard to say. I mean, they sitting at a mid-level, 5 and some. I forget the right. We're going to talk standings here in a second, but they this is the kind of game you would expect from Nathan Rourke. This is the Nathan Rourke when we hear his name that we picture. He just put on a clinic. Yeah, I think he had a couple of rough throws, and I think he took a bad sack or two, but for the most part, he was scrambling. He was making plays with his legs. He was making plays with his arm. There was a one touchdown pass in particular where he did so well with the anticipation of where this receiver he was thrown to was going to go that he threw that ball before that receiver came out of his break and got separation from the defensive back and just absolutely, hit it right on the numbers. Fantastic touchdown. So Rourke, this was like the Rourke we want to see all the time that we think of when we think Nathan Rourke. And if he plays like this, and if this team plays like that every week, watch out for him because they can be dangerous. It's just there's games where they get in their own way where Nathan Rourke is just asked to do maybe too much, and then the team doesn't end up winning. So he can't do it by himself. He's not Superman, but when he's out there and he can facilitate the way he kind of did, I feel like in that game, sky's the limit for this team. And then let's flip to the other side, talk some Alouettes. They go through a couple of quarterbacks during this game. I wasn't sure what happened to McLeod. Did McLeod also get hurt?
No, he didn't start. They started Caleb Evans, and I don't know if it was because of that bad interception. I mean, he played the second half last week. I don't know if McLeod is hurt. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that. But they did start Caleb Evans, and he got hurt early in the game and was replaced by third string quarterback James Morgan, who I'd never even heard of before.
Right, I was shocked when he came in, and I was like, no McLeod. I must have missed something. Maybe McLeod got banged up. I don't know. Maybe they were like, hey, no matter what happens, we're going to see what these other two guys can do, which fair where Montreal is at right now while you wait for Davis Alexander to get back. Maybe see what you got behind even McLeod. But regardless, I mean, the score, I mean, the Alouettes put together a last, touchdown towards the end of the game. I won't say garbage time, but I mean, it didn't really have an impact, I think, on the grand scheme. But it was nice for that third string quarterback to get his first CFL touchdown. So that was a pretty nice James Morgan. Yeah. So looking at stats real quick. British Columbia quarterback Nathan Rourke went 26 of 34 for 382 yards. He had 4 touchdowns during this game and an interception. He also ran the ball for 31 yards. Running back James Butler carried the ball 16 times for 81 yards. Wide receiver Keon Hatcher had 11 catches for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kicker Sean White was 3 for 3 on his field goals, the longest of which was from 46 yards. For Montreal, quarterback James Morgan, the third string quarterback, went 20 of 33 passing for 211 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Wide receiver Tyler Snead had 5 catches for 111 yards during the game with a touchdown. And kicker Jose Maltos was 4 of 5 on field goals, the longest from 41 yards.
Yep. And then on by this past week was the Calgary Stampeders. So let's move into the standings now after 11 weeks in the CFL. And we're going to start in the Western Division, or the West Division. Saskatchewan Roughriders at a commanding 8-1. Calgary Stampeders at 6-3. Winnipeg Blue Bombers at 5-4. BC Lions at 5-5. And the Edmonton Elks at 3-6. Then in the East Division, you've got the Hamilton Tiger Cats at 6-4. Montreal Alouettes at 5-5. Ottawa Red Blacks at 3-7. And our poor Toronto Argonauts at 2-8. And
who would have guessed they would have the worst record overall?
The defending Grey Cup champions.
Yeah.
And
to bring up real quick in the chat, third string, what we mean by third string, Davis Alexander we assumed is the starter, and then probably McLeod, and then Caleb Evans. So I guess technically he's like the fourth string. James Morgan would have been.
I said third string because I'm not even thinking Davis Alexander right now. So until he gets back, McLeod Bethel Thompson is number 1 and Caleb's 2, and this guy would be 3. That was something I said. That wasn't anything I read anywhere. I'm calling him the third string quarterback. But yeah, it probably should be 4th. So you're probably right.
And thanks for the nugget, Royce. James Morgan played for the USFL's Pittsburgh Maulers in 2023. So I think we might have seen him play then at Ford Field.
We might have. We might have
seen him play. So thank you, Royce, for that little nugget. All right, Dad, where to next?
Looking ahead to week 12. It's going to begin this Thursday night. You're going to have Winnipeg at Montreal. On Friday, it's going to be Edmonton at Ottawa. On Saturday, it's 2 games again. You're going to have BC at Toronto in the early game, and Saskatchewan at Calgary as the late game that week. 3 of these 4 games are going to be played on CBS Sportsnet here in the States. All but the Friday night game will be on TV here. You'll have to go to CFL Plus to get that one, but that's not a problem. As far as what game am I looking at this week, I think the game of the week this week is going to be Saskatchewan versus Calgary. The top 2 teams in the West are going at each other Saturday night, so that should be a barn burner.
That should be really good. I mean, that's like the obvious answer, but I think there's all these matchups are intriguing. Starting with the Thursday night game, I think Winnipeg and Montreal, both those teams roughly around 500 each. Can one of those teams, a win's going to be big. You start pulling, climbing up the standings there. Who needs it more, Winnipeg or Montreal?
Yeah,
that's my question to you. Who needs it more?
I would think Montreal probably does.
I mean, I think Winnipeg might need it. You got to keep up pace with the Saskatchewan and Calgary.
That's true.
I think for Winnipeg, that's big. I mean, the East is so down. I think Montreal. I mean, well, of course, a win would be nice. I think with Ottawa and Toronto, the way they've been playing, I think Montreal should be okay. They don't have to worry about missing the playoffs, I think, at that point, if Ottawa and Toronto keep playing like that. But then you get the Edmonton-Ottawa game, which is interesting because Edmonton at 3-6, Ottawa at 3-7. Both these teams finally look like they're starting to get some momentum and piece some things together. And getting a win here for either of these clubs is going to be huge. It gets Ottawa out of that basement a little bit more and hopefully removes any, at some point, the crossover playoff spot, taking a spot from them. But for Edmonton, I think just getting back to relevance and winning and stacking them up in a very competitive West. So that'll be interesting. Toronto's got to show something against BC. BC's getting hot. They need to do something. Otherwise, we're going to have to say they're in the basement for a reason. So,
yeah. Yep.
And we already mentioned, that Saturday game between the West, Saskatchewan, Calgary should be awesome.
Yep. And on bye this week, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I think they should hold a rally during their bye week and burn those gray uniforms and get the fans together and kick off the second half of the season with a nice little bonfire.
I think you're trying to lose friends in Hamilton if you had any. But...
All right. A couple of stories that came out of the CFL this week. The Argonauts and the BC Lions are going to play selected home games away from BMO Field and BC Place in 2026 due to conflicts with the FIFA World Cup Soccer Championship games that are going to be played in those 2 stadiums. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, World Cup Soccer, I don't follow World Cup Soccer, and for them to be pushing CFL games out of their own arenas, I don't know.
I think the World Cup is a big deal. And for them to have some games up there, it is what it is. Soccer is the biggest sport around the planet. As much as we here, love our football, I mean, it's nothing globally like soccer, unfortunately. Yeah. We're getting there. Hey, the world of football, it's trending up. But I mean, I have no problem with it. It's not an every year event. It's not like this happens every year. I think it'll be cool for those stadiums and those fan bases to see some international soccer like that. So it is what it is. I think they're not going to complain about it. Yeah, one less home game. That just means you got to pack more fans in the games you do have.
Yeah. And then one other story that came out of the CFL this week, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to be playing a preseason game in Saskatoon in 2026. And that's going to be the first time they've done this since 1991. I know that there was a CFL team in Saskatoon, and I could not find the name of the team. They were around sometime in the 40s, and I think they folded in 1948 or somewhere right around in there. But if anybody up in Canada is watching us, if you know what the name of the Saskatoon team was in the CFL back in the 1940s, put it in the comments because I could not find it. All I know is there was a team there at one time. So if you're wondering why they're going to Saskatoon, it's another city in the province, and they have a history with the CFL also. Of course, back then it wasn't technically the CFL because the CFL didn't come around till I think 1958, but still they were playing the other teams that are making up the CFL right now. So, all right, anything else before we close the show out?
I don't think so. I mean, another solid week of action, games that had a lot of entertainment. I forget which game it was at the top of my head. A couple of fantastic catches. Like, I forget which game, like, guy leaping over a dude, catching the ball. They did it twice in one game. I think both teams had awesome catches. I can't remember right now for the life of me which game that was. But, God, the CFL's got some studs. They got some great players up there. And what a great opportunity for players. And for us football fans, we're down here in the States, we're suffering through preseason football, and it's just absolutely awful. I'm tired of it. I like talking real football that means stuff like the CFL right now. So keep it up, Canada. We love you.
Yeah, people want to keep saying football is back, in the United States. Well, it's crap football is back right now, and it won't get good until the regular season starts in a couple of weeks. So ignore the preseason. Go check out the CFL. They've got much better games going on than anything you'll see in the preseason in the NFL. All right. That's it for this week. Tune in again next week when Adam and I will review all the games played up north of the border. We'll be here throughout the CFL regular season, the postseason, as well as the 112th Grey Cup game that's going to be played in Winnipeg this year on November 16th. You can check out the highlights of all the games in the CFL each week at cfl.ca/videos to see all those great catches and runs and missed field goal returns for 117 yards. Yeah, go check that one out if I haven't already posted it on our timeline, which I think I did, but who knows? I forget. Let's see. Check out highlights of all the games in the. Oh, I already read that one. Never mind. If you if you want to expand your football IQ and you need help picking out a team to follow, we can assist you with that. You'd be surprised just how much fun the CFL really is. You can't get a feel for it just by listening to us. You've got to watch some games. You got to watch the highlights, and then you'll know what we're talking about because it's just, it is great. It's a lot of fun. If you have any questions about the CFL, you can ask them down in the comments. If we don't know, we've got friends in Canada who probably do know the answer to your questions. So remember, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than Adam and I sitting here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, talking about the Canadian Football League. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
Hey, make sure you guys go up there and eat your poutine and get some maple syrup and just have yourself a ball. All right. And Labor Day football is coming up too. So, so much great stuff happening with the CFL, guys. If you aren't on the bandwagon yet, get on it. What are you doing?
That's right. All right. We'll see you all next week, and we'll be somewhere around the 55-yard line.